Ladies and gentlemen, football is finally here. Based off the title of this video, we're going to talk about our 8 rookie quarterbacks and how they did in preseason. Now, there were more than 8 rookie quarterbacks. I think there were actually 10 rookie quarterbacks, but not all of them are going to be starters. And we're going to talk about the ones who could be competing for a #1 spot. And then we're also going to take and talk about ones who, like Caleb Williams, easy shoo-in, he's going to start. It's already been declared. Jayden Daniels, same thing. So we're going to go ahead and jump into it. I'm going to share some stats. I'm going to share some highlights on the screen as well, too, through a good portion of the video. I need you guys, though, to take and comment below who is your favorite quarterback and who is your least favorite quarterback. Now, this is preseason, so these are not the real games, but they're not real games. But don't get it twisted. Almost all these rosters have 90 people on them, and they're all fighting for a final spot, okay? So let's go ahead and let's get into it. Caleb Williams, we're going to kick it off with the #1 pick in the NFL draft. According to sportingnews.com, they gave him an A. He went 4 for 7, 95 passing yards, 13.6 yards per attempt, and had 101.8 passer rating. Even had 1 rush for 13 yards. This was fun. I'm not going to lie. This was very Patrick Mahomes-esque. When he did that little throw across the body, I was like, well, I don't even think Pat Mahomes started off his career doing that. And I'm not saying, look, he may go on to be the worst quarterback of all time. May suck. And I look back at this video like, why did I say that? So I'm not saying he's going to be better than Pat Mahomes, but I'm not saying there ain't some type of greatness in there, man. I'm excited for this young man. He's very different, paints his nails and does some other stuff. I'm just talking about football here, okay? But this is a young man who is destined for great things. I'm so excited for Caleb Williams. And if you're a Chicago Bears fan, you should be very excited too. I also want to shout out the other quarterback that they got, the young man from Western Kentucky. He had a few good throws in there as well too. I'm not going to entertain that he's going to take a start or anything like that. But if you have a backup, that's a guy, he actually led all of college football in passing yards 2 seasons ago. And he did pretty good last year as well too. But moving on, that is Caleb Williams. I love what I saw in there. I want to see more. It's super raw. It's still coming together. Y'all forget Peyton Manning. Now, I'm a little bit of an older guy. I remember, I think it was in, I was in 7th or 8th grade when Peyton Manning came into the league and he led the NFL in interceptions. I think it was, don't quote me on this, I think it's 29 interceptions. So there's going to be a lot of stuff that's raw this year. Now there's Jayden Daniels. Now this is what makes me mad about Jayden Daniels. I didn't see enough of it. I wanted more. Y'all ever been to Costco and be like, all right, I came here for eggs and bread and milk, nothing else. But then you try that sample and you say, wow, that is delicious. That tickled my taste buds. That danced on my taste buds. That was this. He made some great plays, man. His first throw right out the gate was massive, man. It was right down the field, and it was such a perfectly placed throw. It was very Dan Marino-esque. One thing I love about Jayden Daniels, we'll get into stats here in a second, but quick release. I think they said he had the quickest release of any quarterback in last year's draft. And this is a guy he could scramble too, but he's a pocket quarterback. The only thing I don't like about him in college, the only thing I don't, and I hope he corrects this for the love of God, because he's a string bean, he's a skinny guy, but he's just a slim assassin, man. And he's so slippery, but sometimes he does take hits. But he's a tough guy. He's tough as nails. But Jayden Daniels, 1st round, 2nd overall pick, LSU. He went 2 for 3, 45 yards, 15 yards per attempt, and 109.7 passer rating. He even had 1 rush for 3 yards, which led to a touchdown. Now they took him out right after that. So, man, I am so excited for week 1. The Commanders, you've been trying to hold a secret and you're just trying to hold it in. You're giving it away just based off how your face looks. I could imagine that's what that coaching staff is over in Washington. Jayden Daniels is a special player, but that deep ball accuracy is crazy. I mean, I was talking with my brother Isaac, who's a lifelong Commanders fan, and he's been on the show before. He was like, "Hey, it feels like we ain't haven't had a quarterback since the Reagan era." So, moving on, McCarthy, who I've been brutal towards. I'm gonna try to do a 180 and redeem myself here. So he went 11 for 17, 188 passing yards, 11.1 yards per attempt, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, 116.8 passer rating. and 2 rushes for 18 yards. One of them went really long. I can't even lie, man. JJ McCarthy was fantastic. He looked great, man. And I know it's preseason. A lot of these guys are not going to be the starters. People are fighting for a starting spot. They're trying to learn the speed of the game. People out there with limited reps. I get that. But also understand there's people out there trying to make a name for themselves as well, too. So it still is a very real and very active game. But JJ McCarthy, I was very brutal on him, and I'm not gonna completely do a 180 on my opinion of him that I said he was just gonna suck. He should have went in day 3 of the draft, and he went number 10 overall. But man, I may end up eating crow for this, and I'm always willing to admit when I'm wrong, because when I'm wrong. And I just might be wrong on JJ McCarthy. Y'all let me know if I'm wrong, but I want him to do well. I always hope I'm wrong when it comes to, and I don't ever wish anybody bad. I'm not assassinating people's character. I'm just talking about play. And I just feel in college, man, like his team, like he didn't really carry the team. The team carried him, and he just did a lot of the little things right. But who knows? He may be an elite quarterback, man. I like what I saw with JJ McCarthy. I really don't have anything bad to really say. Moving on to Bo Nix. Man, Bo Nix, man, I loved what I saw, man. I'm going to give it to JJ McCarthy as far as probably the best performance of the week. But Bo Nix, first round, 12th overall, Oregon. Went 15 for 21, 125 yards, 6 yards per attempt, threw a touchdown, okay? And then had a 102.3 passer rating, and he had 3 rushes for 17 yards. Now, I've been a fan of Bo Nix for a while. I watched him at Auburn, and he was fantastic at Auburn. I watched him at Oregon, where I said, this guy like 6th or 7th year playing college football? Why was he getting a double degree? I don't know. Is he going for his doctorate? Is he Dr. Nix? I don't know. But Bo knows, and Bo knew what to do this past week. His first ever preseason game, man, including a downfield dart to Cortland Sutton, man. I loved, and then that short red zone touchdown to Marvin Mims. I mean, the dude was just balling out, man, and you love to see it, man. You love to see a young guy eating out there, crushing it, picking apart the defense. And honestly, I'm very skeptical, very similar to Jay, and I still am skeptical of both of them. That doesn't change. But, man, I want to be wrong, and I feel like my opinion is starting to change on these young men. They may be franchise guys after all. We may look back on this draft and say, wow, this is one of the best ever quarterback drafts ever. We just might. We just might. Moving on. Okay, now we're going to have some New England Patriots talk, y'all. I'm a Dolphins fan, but in this segment, I'm going to remove my look, I keep my hat. I keep my hat right here, y'all. I love my Miami Dolphins. I got my little mini helmet here that my kids got me. But I got to be non-biased because that's what we do here on the Touchdown with Doug Smith. We keep it real. And I'm going to be real honest. Joe Milton look a lot better than Drake May. Joe Milton, I'm going to talk about 2 of these guys. Let's cover stats, and then I'll get my opinion for whatever it's worth. Joe Milton, 6th round pick, 193 overall, went 4 for 6, 54 yards passing, 9 yards per attempt. He threw a touchdown, 134.7 passer rating, 5 rushes for 22 yards. Okay. Then we go over to Drake May, in which he went 2 of 3. He's obviously going to be a starter. 2 of 3 for 19 yards passing, 6.3 yards per attempt, and had a 84 passer rating. Now, you got a first-time head coach in there, so he's just trying to protect this guy. He's really trying to protect this guy. And, guys, I am not mad. I promise you I'm not mad at him at all. I'm assuming Drake May. So, actually, I don't know that. It may be Jacoby Brissett. I'm not sure. I should probably fact-check that. I believe it is Jacoby Brissett. But Joe Milton looked great. He looked freaking fantastic. He had double the reps, okay? Not double the reps. He had like triple the reps of what Drake May had. And man, when he took and was running, man, scramble, I loved it. I loved it. And Joe Milton is one of those guys where he has the strongest arm. Honestly, you put him in the NFL. Well, he is in the NFL now, but like if you compare him to active NFL quarterbacks, I'm curious to see if he has the strongest arm in the NFL. Now, we all fell in love with Joe Milton last year when Hendon Hooker went down in the bowl game, and then Joe Milton came in and crushed it. We all fell in love, and that's when I became a fan of the legend Joe Milton. And he had a pretty good final year in playing college ball for Tennessee. They ranked him at A- as far as like how he did. He did really, really well. But let's be honest with you. Let's be honest. Jacoby Brissett is a bridge quarterback. He's a bridge quarterback, but out of all the starting quarterbacks, I probably have him ranked as like number 21 or 22 as far as like best quarterbacks, maybe even top 20. You can make the argument for Jacoby Brissett being a top 20 quarterback. Totally could, you know, and that gives Drake May an opportunity to grow. But look, man, shout out to at the time they were called the Washington Redskins. Shout out to them a couple of years ago. They drafted 2 quarterbacks, and that's also what this is also what the New England Patriots did. They got Drake May and they got Joe Milton. I have a feeling that for when the day Drake May gets that starting spot, I have a feeling that Joe Milton will take and be that guy. He will be the starting quarterback for the New England Patriots. I totally have that feeling, and y'all could be wrong. I always want the best guy, again, in there. Moving off my Dolphins fandom here. I always want the best guy in there, man. Joe Milton is phenomenal. It's kind of raw a little bit. I want to see more preseason ball with him. You know what I mean? I want to get teased. I want it to be where he does so good that we're calling for him, that when Jacoby Brissett sucks and Drake May ain't doing his thing, Joe Milton, like that would be so freaking cool. So anyway, that's my thoughts. Drake May, I love this tape in college, but man, I like the ceiling of Joe Milton, and I think that ceiling is a 20-foot ceiling rather than a 9-foot ceiling. And what Joe can bring to the table can possibly elevate this offense, because, man, Patriots, they haven't been drafting extremely well, and this draft could potentially change all of that. Moving on to the ATL. I just got back from Atlanta. I love that city. Michael Penix Jr., man. Michael Penix was literally, him and Jayden Daniels were my favorite quarterbacks in college football last year. My favorite 2 NFL-bound quarterbacks last year. He went 9 for 16. He did all right. He did pretty good. 6.5 yards per attempt and had a 76 passer rating, which isn't too bad. Now, he's not going to be starting because we all know Kirk Cousins doesn't have any more injury obstacles in 2024. So it shows. Perhaps that, you know, allow that big arm talent to relax and let the ball fly with quick, you know, fluid motion and expected deep ball accuracy. That is what Michael Penix takes and brings to the table. And he teased us. He teased the heck out of us, man. I liked what Michael Penix did. I thought he looked great out there. He went 9 for 16. He had a few throws that kind of got away from him a little bit. And again, this is super early, but if Kirk Cousins starts to Kirk Cousin, he starts acting like he goes to the same quarterback camp as Dak Prescott. Guess what? Michael Penix is going to be a starter for the Atlanta Falcons sooner than later. Michael Penix, though, the O-line is not super great for Atlanta. I haven't been super impressed with their O-line. And I hope that changes, because this last draft was one of the deepest O-line drafts I've seen in a long time, man. Very deep in the trenches. So if you needed to fix that, this was the year to take and do that, right? So, but I liked how Michael Penix do. Me personally, I give him a solid B. And that's what the website gives him too, off of sportingnews.com. Then we got Spencer Rattler. Okay. They gave him a B-. He went 9 for 14, 70 yards passing, 4.1 yards per attempt. He was sacked, unfortunately. He had a 63.4 passer rating, and he had 2 rushes for 8 yards, which one of them ended in a touchdown. It wasn't perfect. Definitely not a full polished NFL product, kind of raw out there, but it's going to be excited to see how he does. Again, very similar. Now, I would argue that Kirk Cousins in Atlanta is a much better quarterback than Derek Carr. We've seen Derek Carr. We've gotten all we're going to get from Derek Carr. Derek Carr is not a bad quarterback at all, but this is a very incomplete Saints team, and they're bringing in a lot of weapons, okay? A lot of weapons. This is a team that could potentially turn it around in the next year or two. But I like that they got Spencer Rattler, because the ceiling is close to Pat Mahomes. I'm just saying, he's made throws at times in college when he was in South Carolina where I was like, wow, he's really, really good. He's amazing. You know what I mean? Then, you know, there's times where it's like, all right, well, this guy needs a little bit more work. So I don't see him starting at all this year unless Derek Carr takes and goes down. But again, very scrappy, 9 to 14, 70 yards passing, and ran it in for a touchdown. It was a scrappy drive, and I love to take and see it. Comment below. Let me know what was your favorite quarterback and how he did in your eyes, and what do you expect in the coming weeks? What are your expectations? I just want to hear from you guys, the people. There are 2 other quarterbacks I'm going to touch on real briefly. That's Jack Plummer of the Panthers, undrafted, came from Louisville. I don't know if y'all remember Jake Plummer. He used to play for the Cardinals. Call him Jake the Snake. He was very good. They gave this guy a D. He was 11 21, 86 yards passing, 4 yards per attempt, 62.8 passer rating, sacked 5 times. My gosh, I know it's preseason. That's terrible. And 2 rushes for 4 yards. Look, why cover this guy? Why are we talking about Jack Plummer? Well, because the guy who's going to be starting this year was not that great last year. Bryce Young was just not that great last year, man. Honestly, Andy Dalton's on the team. Andy Dalton is on the team, man. I would probably start Bryce Young. I don't know, man. It's just maybe he makes that jump, but he looks really uncomfortable. And I'm not sure that the Panthers know what they're doing in protecting and helping to develop Bryce Young properly. But Jack Plummer, he was a quarterback who started, didn't do so hot. Sacked 5 times. I think Devin Leary came from Kentucky, man. I love Devin Leary was the backup to Will Levis over in Kentucky, man. And Devin Leary had one of the better O-lines in college, but wasn't crazy about how he did. I mean, he went 6 for 10, 37 yards, 3.7 yards per attempt, was sacked once, had one rush for 1 yard and a touchdown, which was pretty cool, and had a 67.5 passer rating. So that's all the rookie quarterbacks that I have here today. My favorite, oh man, I gotta say, man, I thought he was gonna suck and throw 4 interceptions. This is JJ McCarthy. JJ McCarthy was fantastic, man. I was blown away. I thought he did a really good job. It's gonna be interesting week 1 when you're playing against all the starters, you know what I mean? But he has so many weapons around him. Things are taken care of with Brian Flores on the defense over there. I think I'm starting to change my mind on JJ McCarthy, but I need a little more time. Him and Bo Nix, but they both did great. And otherwise, I would have given it to Jayden Daniels. Obviously, he's my favorite, but y'all, 3. It was 1 drive that he was in there for. So I can't really give it to him. But yeah, JJ McCarthy is my vote for this week. But comment below if you want another video like this next week. Also, let me know. Hit that subscribe button. God bless you all. Jesus loves you. Go do something nice for somebody. And I will see you guys next time on the Touchdown with Doug Smith. Peace. Thank you for watching another episode of the Touchdown with Doug Smith, where we have exclusive NFL content and exclusive NFL interviews. Be sure to hit that like and that subscribe button. Follow us on social media. See you on the next one.